Here we are in week 3 of the Summer of You series. I hope this series is giving you some time and space to reflect, reflect, and let your needs and desires be a priority. So, week 3, the theme here is about creating space. Last summer, this theme showed up in a very tactical way, in a very physical way. We spent, I think, 3 or 4 weekends last summer literally creating space in our home by purging closets, bedrooms, storage areas, and really just decluttering and releasing items that our family had collected, over 20 years with kids, 22 years, which meant we had a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff that someone else could benefit from. And so our kids just looked at us like, wow, this is just the worst thing to be doing on a summer weekend. Meanwhile, my husband and I were like, this feels so great to be releasing these things and creating more space. So, physically, where can you create more space? Whether that's doing an office purge, cleaning out your office, making the space more attractive, or just cleaner in terms of less stuff, less clutter. So that is definitely, and you can't see all the mess around my office here, but that is something that I'm going to be focusing on this week is clearing out my office and actually setting the space to be just more open, more welcoming, and I don't want it to be a reflection of my cluttered brain. I really feel like the physical space, the cleaner, and I don't mean like dirt clean, but just, yeah, less cluttered. That becomes a really important kind of mirror for how I want my mind to feel. So, physical space, where can you create some mental space? We are so consumed with the doing of life, the doing of work, uh, executing, being productive, getting stuff done. You know, I'll speak for myself. That is definitely how I have operated, what my brain values, getting stuff done, getting things off the list. And what I'm encouraging us to do is to actually create, in coaching, we call it white space in your calendar. Can you find 2 hours this week that you put it into the calendar, whether this is work time or personal time, 2 separate hours, maybe 8 increments of 15 minutes. You do you. But I want you to have actual space in the calendar that has nothing for you to do. You will just be in that space. Be with your thoughts, be with your emotions, and just be in that white space. And then notice what that's like. I have this vivid memory, this story of um, I was going on a flight early 2020 when flights were still happening. And I love a long plane ride for getting stuff done, clearing out my inbox, doing some planning, working on kind of focused work. Like I just love those plane trips for that. So I was looking forward to that with this long trip to the East Coast. And I got to the airport, was unpacking my computer bag at the security lineup, opened up my bag, and in the section where the computer laptop sits, no laptop. No laptop. My laptop was sitting here in my office while I was getting on a plane for a 10-day work trip where I was highly dependent on my computer. So you can imagine that rush of panic. I got through security, called my husband. We figured out how to ship my computer to meet me where I was. But I remember thinking, oh, great, what am I supposed to do on this flight? Sit with my thoughts? Like I had so much resistance to sitting with my thoughts. And so that's what I ended up doing. I don't usually do movies on flights. I just took the time to be with my thoughts and feelings after I got over the panic of leaving my laptop behind. And that, I'll always remember that flight because I was so resistant to that being. I wanted to get on that flight and get stuff done, and I couldn't. So I sat with my thoughts. And as I did and had that space, so sort of forced space, couple of hours, about halfway through the flight, these kind of, I call them like clarity ahas, started to show up in my mind. And some things that I'd been working on and feeling kind of stuck around, suddenly it was like, oh, here's the answer. This is what you can do. So I picked up my notebook and I just started to kind of journal. I'm not really a journaler. Um, so I just wrote down all the ideas and the clarity that was emerging for me. And that became a whole program that I put together. But I needed that space for my brain to relax and my brain to process. And then whoosh, the clarity of thinking was able to emerge. That would not have happened if I had been busy cleaning out my inbox and working on proposals. That clarity of thought would not have appeared in the way that it did. So, physical, mental, emotional space. I just want to touch lightly on this and invite you to create space for your emotions to process. I just experienced this last week. As you've probably heard by now from me, Brene Brown has made some significant changes to her facilitator community. And long story short, I am no longer allowed to market or deliver Dare to Lead directly through my business. So you can imagine this was a big change. It came kind of out of the blue. I wasn't expecting it. It has huge implications for my business, and there was a lot of emotion around this decision. And the day I got that news, I actually had to keep going and compartmentalize the emotions to show up in coaching for my clients. And then when the weekend came, I literally sat on my back deck and said, okay, we're going to create some space to feel all the feelings that this decision is creating within me. So I sat in that emotional space and just tried to experience them and name them and cry a little bit because I was feeling disappointed, frustrated, confused, betrayed, fearful. And as I sat with those and kind of named them and kind of let those emotions leak out through my eyes, I just noticed that they kind of moved through me, but I didn't stay stuck in them. I had a big nap that afternoon as well. My body just needed to process all of this. And then the next day, I have to say with this one, my emotions really transitioned pretty quickly into curiosity and hopefulness and kind of wondering about what would come and what this would mean. But if I hadn't created the space, I think, to sit in the hard emotions, I would still be kind of stuck in them and toiling in them. So I really needed to create the space to be with them, even though it was uncomfortable. And my positivity tendency can be to just move on, rather than sit with. So what's going on in your world that is creating some hard emotions that you might benefit from sitting in? Creating space to sit in those emotions, name them, let them move through you, and then you can release them. Okay, longer video than planned. Physical space, mental space, emotional space. How can you create some space for yourself this week and beyond?